Yes, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Quickies, DUD or SPUD Quickies. I'm Maniacal Mac. As you always say, these are quick reviews of movies you've seen before, which therefore you won't do them on the show as movies individually, so I just run through a load of them quick. YouTube has been getting a bit better, as I said, but still a bit dodge. Got my Rumble account, all DUD or SPUDs are on there, nothing's blocked, so if you're enjoying these episodes, the full ones when I got people watching the full films, they're all on there. Anyway, so we're going to start with this one, traditionally with a banger, of course. Some places know this is Zombie, some places know this is Zombie 2. I found this out when I first came across it, and what I'm going to call it, Zombie Flesh Eaters. There's a trilogy of them, but then there's a load of the zombie films. They're not connected or nothing. It's a bit of a shit show, all that. But the first Zombie Flesh Eaters film came out in 1979. Yeah, the best of the three, best of the bunch, like one of my favourite zombie films. Even to this day, it's got like a really like grim tone to it. When you watch it, you feel a bit dirty and stuff. The zombie effects are great on there. It's got like silly moments where zombies are super slow and the awkwardness, but that was kind of given like a 70s kind of horror film. Wicked scene where you probably know zombie smashes through some wood, grabbing a woman, slowly brings her towards it, pokes out her eye. The exact same thing happens, which I mentioned on the game I played the other day, Night at the Gates of Hell. So it's playing up to this. I won't say no more. Classic film this. Zombie Flesh Eaters. All day long, guess a SPUD, you know that. Next one. This is fucking hilarious. Like, actually, he's got some pretty decent games on the PS2. Don't ask me about the Terminal Cut. I haven't played them, but the originals are good. Called BloodRayne. But I'm talking about the movie now. Came out in 2005. Yui Ball film. Yeah, so you kind of know you're getting into with that, really, don't you? You've got Christina Locken in there, Ben Kingsley, Michael Madison, Michelle Rodriguez. So it's got like big names. That's the mad thing about this. Some okay gore scenes, but overall really embarrassing. If you play the games and that, there's a few references made and they tried to do some of the outfits and that. But overall, it's a shit show of a film. Like, it's pretty bad. I say pretty bad, it's really bad. Hilarious scene where Michael Madsen just gives up in the film, gets stabbed by Ben Kingsley, and his reactions like this after being stabbed in the chest. Like that, and there's nothing like, clip I would have put up here. But yeah, that scene alone is fantastic, to be fair. And there is some other moments, because like Billy Zane's in it, so you know it's going to be silly as well. As I said, some big actors in this, but unfortunately, because of the big actors, and they should have been better than it was, bit of a shit show, dud. Gonna have to say it. I won't talk about the sequel or the third film, because quite frankly, I don't remember them. I think I might have seen them, don't remember them. Next one we're going to go on about is called Frankenstein's Army. Came out in 2003. Bit similar to Hotel Inferno, first person kind of point of view, most of the film and stuff like. Not many people I know seen this film. Pretty good one. In the dying days of World War II, a battalion of Russian soldiers are lurked into the secret lab of a deranged scientist and forced to face off against an army of horrific flesh and metal war machines. Good description, pretty much what it is. Yeah, it's like an army film, but then it gets stuck in a bunker, and they're all like fucked up. Some wicked monster designs in here. Like, I think this deserves more love and appreciation. See, if it did, I'd love to have seen like a sequel of a higher budget, because it takes a little bit to get to the zombie action. It's a bit, there's some sloggy moments, but, keep in mind this film's not on a huge budget. It had a big budget with that non-stop going on. This could be an absolute fantastic film. But I will give it a SPUD, Frankenstein's Army. Worth the watch, I would. Great monster designs, pretty tense moments. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Worth the watch, I think. So the next one, there's two of these, right? Technically, the next one is a sequel to this, but the first one is Cast a Deadly Spell. Came out in 1991. It was like a TV movie. Got Fred Ward in there from Tremors. He plays like Lovecraft is his name in it, if I remember. He's Detective Lovecraft, or yeah, Harry Philip Lovecraft. And he's basically like this private investigator, but he's like with a paranormal. He's aware of all these like fucking demons and that, and he knows people who can do magic, which help him out and that. But he stays human. He purposely don't dwell into like the magic side, because he knows like it can turn you and stuff. So he knows all about it, but he's like a human involved. But they're kind of scared of him because he's like, fucking up these demons. He knows what he's doing and stuff. Really good film. Not many people know this too well. All set in like, what was it, like the 40s, I believe. Really good vibe. Amazing film, this one. I remember seeing this as a kid and like on TV, and years later, it was just years and years, couldn't find out what it was. It was like, back in them days, like, you didn't have, like, I didn't have the internet like you had now. I forgot to tape it on my VHS player. No, I did tape it on my VHS player, but I missed it, so I never got the intro of like the title of the film. So for years and years, I never knew about it. Came across it again about 3 years ago. I was like, fuck, I remember this film, watched it, and it's better than I ever remembered. So Cast a Deadly Spell, absolute spud. Give it a watch if you can get hold of it. And then he did a sequel to this, which he never really like advertised it much of a sequel, but it is. It's called Witch Hunt. Came out in 94, so only a few years after. And this one's got Dennis Hopper in it, you think it's going to be great, isn't it? He plays Philip Lovecraft, so he plays the Fred Ward character. Massive age difference here, and this is like set in the 50s, 10 years, so that don't make sense, because he has, he looks a lot more than 10 years older than Fred Ward, but whatever. Nah, this one's just nowhere near as good. Like, I'm guessing it was done by a different director and stuff, just the vibe weren't there, it was just a lot more cheesier. The effects weren't that good, the tone seemed a bit of a rush job compared to the first one. Even on its own as a film, if they didn't compare to the first one, I'd stick with a dud. So first one, Spud without shadow of a doubt, but then Witch Hunt, just don't pretend, just pretend it didn't exist, I would like. Next one, this one, if you're into the bad films, you're going to have at least heard about it. Getting hold of this was quite hard, but it is around if you look in the right places. Suburban Sasquatch came out in 2004. Like, you've probably seen loads of reviews on this, so I won't say too much about it. Absolute, like, terrible in the sense of, like, how to make a film. Like, cheap in every single way. The Sasquatch is ripping off arms, and just basically, like, like, blatant Halloween props. There's a scene where he rips some guy's arm off, throws it at the other guy, gets hit by an arm, and that somehow like fucking knocks him out. I think he dies, and he's just floating in the river then, like by a fucking arm being thrown at him. Yeah, this film is terrible in every way, but fuck me, you have to watch it. It's one of them you got to see to believe. You can watch all the reviews you want, but you have to watch it. Thing is, though, for an hour and 37 film, it does get a bit like, fucking hell, you really, if it's just like an hour and 10-minute film, perfect, but it does drag on at points, I'll be honest. As a woman with a crossbow, it's embarrassing as shit. But I will say, even though it's a hard watch, and I will say it's a hard watch, even though it's got quality moments in it, it is an hard watch. I'll just give this Spud, just because the moments are absolute quality when you get to them. But it might be one of the films you watch once in your life and never watch again. Alternatively, if you're not interested, I think there is like clips on YouTube, which is pretty much the best part. You watch that, you don't really need to watch a film, but when you do watch a film, it does bring a lot more to light of like, wow, this is fucking embarrassing. But I will give it a Spud just because of how bad it was, in a funny way. Great one to show people. Next one, on a similar vibe, like kind of a lot of people say it's so bad it's good. And when I did see this years back, I did like it. I'll be honest. It's called the Gingerdead Man. Came out in 2005. They made an abundance of sequels. I think they even got the Gingerdead Man versus Evil Bong and shit they've done. Like, it don't take itself seriously. It's a really silly concept. Gary Busey's a voice, so you know you get into it. However, as much as I did like it, I remember I rewatched this again, and I was like, fuck, man, like, I think I must have just been so high when I watched it the first time, because I remember watching it again going, oh, this is an hard watch. Oh, this ain't that funny. This is actually pretty bad. There's little moments it's funny, but overall it's like, and it's I know a lot of people do like it, and it's not supposed to be taken serious, but like, I think if you're like really high in a young teenager, you might like it. Otherwise, nah, it's a bit shit to be fair with you after the rewatch. Like, and I thought, and I'm gonna say though, I did like this when it first came out, but after rewatch, nah. Next one, fantastic film, came out in 1981 called The Pit. His kids, there's a pit in the forest, right? And it's a pretty big pit, you can't miss it. For some reason, the kid's feeding them monsters. I think it's so they don't come out. If he feeds them monsters in this pit, they won't come out. So he's kind of doing it to save people, but then he's been a murderous psychopath at the same time. He's only a little kid. Hilarious film, right? It's stupid as shit moments. There's a moment, right, where I think he convinces, like, I don't know if it's like his girlfriend's boyfriend, no, sorry, his sister's boyfriend, or like someone a bit older than him to go play catch with him in the woods. And he's going, hey, run, I'll throw the ball at you. And he's running in the pit there. You can clearly fucking see it. Like, it's a big enough pit. And he somehow looks like that, goes to catch a ball and falls in a pit. Amazing, right? But the best scene of this whole film, hands down, easily, So he's got an old lady in a wheelchair and he's been all nice and he starts running with her and she's like, oh, what are you doing? And he literally just runs to the pit and chucks her in. It's so fucking hilarious. Like, that there alone, that scene alone is worth it. The kid's a complete psychopath and he got into the role, so props to him because he's a young actor. But yeah, mad film. Absolutely mad. Fucking hilarious. Bang. You have to watch it. I don't really know what else to say. The Pit. Give it a watch. Crazy film. Next one. There's 4 of these films that came out, so I'll just kind of cover them all, I guess. The Hatchet Quadrilogy. First Hatchet film came out in 2006, and then I think the 4th one, there was a bit of a gap, though. Came out like 2013, 14. There was a bit of a gap from the 3rd to 4th, though. So similar to like the Beast trilogy, the Hatchet films are kind of like all one film. There's not much time difference jump between each film, besides the 4th one. 3rd and 4th, the only time is real time jump. You kind of watch 1, 2, and 3 like back to back as the events all happen over the course of like 2 nights or something. But yeah, fucking amazing film. When it first came out, it came out in 2006. We get loads of shitty same horror films. Everything's boring. Everything was zombie related. This comes out of nowhere, and it's like a brand new like Friday the 13th style thing. You've got amazing killer, which is Victor Crowley. Wicked kills, gory as shit, like really fucking high pace, really tense. Funny as hell, doesn't take itself serious at the same time. Fantastic series. Number 4, the 1st and 2nd, if I remember, are the best. The 3rd does go a bit, but it's still watchable. The 4th, then, I remember being a bit like, I'm kind of glad it happened, but it didn't need to happen. But it is what it is. So the quality does dip a bit, but they all will get SPUDs. Just because they're a fantastic series. I imagine if you're watching this and you've seen these kind of films, you've seen these. But if you haven't, check out the Hatchet franchise. You can't go wrong. Fantastic ones. The last one we're going to finish on then came out 2014. This is going to be controversial because I know quite a few people like this one. Called Tusk. It's got Jason Long in it. And it's actually directed and written by Kevin Smith, who does Clerks and all that. Like, you know, love Clerks, love like Mallrats. Dogma, like that, the original Jane Silent Bob, but then kind of after that, like the reboot Jane Silent Bob, let's not talk about that. That fucking thing his daughter's done, I can't remember what it's called, Hagen Dogas or whatever the fuck that was called, let's not even talk about that. You know what I mean? So, I will give Clerks 3 a watch, but I'm going to watch it with a mind of like, here we go, is he going to fuck this one up? However, this is kind of around that era where I just don't know. He did that one good film, and it Red State, and then I threw him close to this, but he's doing loads of shit films, Kevin Smith, and this is one of them. I hate to admit it, Tusk. Tried to be more clever than it was. They say, like, oh, you don't understand, it's not a deeper meaning. You know, shot well, filmed well, acting alright. It's just very fucking boring, I found, and then the whole point of it is to be a bit like Audition. There's a big shocking end finale scene and that, and Justin Long basically gets turned into a walrus. Yeah, like, if you know, you know. But the scene when it finally shows him, he's knocked him out and then he's going to do surgery on him. You don't actually see him do the surgery fully or whatever. But when he's, like, there, it just kind of quickly shows him as the walrus and he goes, "Ooh!" Like a camera pan into him. I remember the first time I watched this, I pissed myself laughing. I know it's supposed to be semi-comical, but I don't think it was meant to be as funny as it was with that. I think it was meant to be a bit shocking, like, he's a walrus. But, oh, my God, it was embarrassing. Like, this should not have horror anywhere near it. Some people say you didn't get it. No, I just didn't like it. I got it entirely. I just thought it was a pretty shit film. 1 hour 42-minute film as well. Too long. Like that part with him being a walrus now, that's what it's building up to be, and who's this fucking shit? Like, you know what I mean? So it's a dud for me all over Tusk. But yep, that's it. As I said, you keep these quickie episodes quick. So look out, hopefully next episode might be another Quickies. Otherwise, it will be another full episode, probably with the old Hibs. Check out some of the other episodes we dropped recently. I've been Maniacal Mac. Thanks for joining. Peace out. Maniacal Mac.